Her closing argument speech tonight in Washington. What can we expect?
Well, campaign officials say that Vice President Harris is going to lay out what they see as an optimistic vision for the future. She's going to be here talking about a number of issues, including abortion, including her plans for health care and the economy. That's what campaign officials say. But of course, she's going to be doing it on a very symbolic stage here, with the location being the Ellipse, which is really the backyard of the White House. And she's going to be standing exactly where, as you said, former President Donald Trump stood on January 6th. Hours before and even during when his supporters broke into the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. So she's, of course, also going to be talking about really the danger of a second Trump presidency, saying that he's unhinged and that a second Trump presidency is going to be even worse than the first because he's going to be more unchecked. So she's going to be talking about American freedoms and the fact that this is on the line. And her campaign says she's really tailoring this to the persuadable voters and even undecided voters who maybe are changing their minds on Trump because of the events of the last few days. And as you said, they expect something like 20,000 to 40,000 people here. The initial application said 20,000. Now they're up to 40, Jose.
And George, meantime, you are in Allentown. How were those racist comments by that comedian at Trump's Sunday rally reverberating there?
Yeah, Jose, here in the Lehigh Valley, here the seat of Lehigh County, Allentown, it is a mixed bag right now from what we're hearing. Obviously, it is not being well received by so many Latinos here in this predominantly Latino community. Many of them, of course, upset and angered by those remarks by that comedian at MSG. But then you also have, interestingly enough, those supporters, those Latino supporters here, some with merchandise here saying Boricuas Dominicanos for Trump, setting up right here outside of the arena hours ahead of the former president's arrival, saying, look, this doesn't move the needle for us very much in any way. We understand that this was a comedian whose comments were made outside of the president's speech there, although former President Trump has distanced himself from the comments that were made and those jokes that were made at MSG. Nevertheless, these voters are saying, look, we still stand by the president. We're still going to vote for him. We understand this was not his remarks at MSG. But then again, as we're talking to people here on the ground, some of those undecided voters, those crucially undecided voters, they're saying this is the nail in the coffin for them. This is definitely assuring them that they are not going to vote for the former president. Here's what one person told us earlier this morning, Jose.
It's really helpful because, I say that, Latino people, they come here to work, hard, and like I'm going to say Mexican people too, they come here and they do a lot of work. They do a lot of construction for us, because if it wasn't because of them, there would be nothing here.
Yeah, Jose, again, a lot of anger, and it's so crucial right now, again, as we mentioned, those undecided voters who at this point may not know who they were going to vote for. Comments like this certainly sort of moving the needle. We will see what the end result is. One interesting note I will say, as I mentioned, those people here that are still supporting former President Trump that are actually Latino, saying some of their signage has actually been kicked. It's been punched here. We will keep a close eye today to see if we see more of that ahead of the former president's arrival here in Allentown. Jose?
And Dasha, so what is the former president expecting to say in Allentown, and who is he going to be with?
Well, so, Jose, this event was planned prior to that MSG rally, but of course it's taken on new relevance. The former president going to a majority Hispanic area after what happened at that rally. Now, the campaign is telling me that the pre-program, the speakers going ahead of the former president and the event in general is going to be heavy on Puerto Rican supporters. The shadow senator from Puerto Rico will be speaking. I'm also told that Senator Marco Rubio will be in attendance. I'm told that by the Trump campaign. We're also out to the Rubio folks to get that confirmed. But this is clearly an attempt to try to rally those supporters and try to stem the bleeding from the fallout from those racist remarks, Jose.
And Yamiche, how is the Harris campaign seizing on this?
Well, the Harris campaign is really leaning into this statement and really saying that this is an example of more what they see as racism that is really coursing through the Trump campaign. They also are doing paid media ads highlighting these statements. And then you have high-level campaign surrogates, including Barack Obama in Philadelphia, talking about them. So take a listen to what he had to say.
These are fellow citizens he's talking about. Here in Philadelphia, they are your neighbors. They are your friends. They are your co-workers. Their kids go to school with your kids. Here's a good rule. If somebody does not respect you, if somebody does not see you as fellow citizens with equal claims to opportunity, to the pursuit of happiness, to the American dream, you should not vote for them.
And you should expect more and more of this sort of statements, both from Vice President Harris, from Governor Walz, and from other campaign surrogates. They really want to underscore that these statements really, in their mind, crystallize that Donald Trump is the wrong choice for this, and that the people around him really just don't respect fellow Americans, including, of course, Puerto Ricans. And it's interesting that as campaign officials were talking about the vice president's speech today, they were saying that they're hoping some of the people who maybe are changing their minds because of this joke, this racist joke that was made by this comedian, that can change people's minds and maybe make them tune in and maybe even change their minds and go toward Vice President Harris. Jose?
Yamiche Alcindor, Dasha Burns, and George Solis, thank you so very much. And be sure to tune in tonight for special coverage of Vice President Harris's speech at the Ellipse. It all begins 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, right here on MSNBC. Up next, former First Lady Michelle Obama will rally voters tonight in Atlanta, a day after Trump called her, quote, nasty in that same city. Is she going to respond? Plus, the importance of Latino voters this year, why one of the most ethnically diverse counties in Georgia could well decide the winner of the election. And more fallout from the racist remarks made at Trump's rally in New York City on Sunday. We're back in 90 seconds. You're watching Jose Díaz-Balart Reports on MSNBC.
I love it. Please, Mom.
Olivia.
Finally.
Ha ha.
Nailed it.
That's my line. There's no place like Target to shop everything wicked.
I'm sandwiched between the two generations. I'm helping to give caregiver responsibilities to my dad and then my son who's just out of college. So it's like, where can I put my money where it can grow a little bit faster? I found Wealthfront and let it work its magic. The cash account is more like, what will my dad need? And then the investment account is what I want. My passion is traveling. I traveled to 6 continents. My last continent is what I'm trying to save for. You get that, oh, you've earned so much this month. It's like, hey, I made a wise decision there.
When I worked for Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan, I learned about commitment. Senator Moynihan committed his life to government service. This is what commitment looks like. Building New York's newest train station was Senator Moynihan's idea. It took 30 years and never giving up. When we register to vote, we make a lifetime commitment to democracy, a commitment to vote for all levels of government, working together to build a better America.
$11 past the hour. We are, of course, keeping an eye on Mar-a-Lago as former President Trump is expected to speak at any moment. We will bring you updates on that when it begins. Today, with only a week until the election, former First Lady Michelle Obama is set to headline a rally in Atlanta. Early voting in Georgia has started, and it's shattering all kinds of records. Almost 3 million votes cast there already. 40% of all active voters. In 2020, President Biden won Georgia by just over 11,000 votes, highlighting just how crucial each vote is in the battleground state. Joining us now from Atlanta is NBC White House correspondent Aaron Gilchrist. Aaron, good morning. What can we expect to see there today?
Well, Jose, we expect to see a long list of celebrities joining the former First Lady on stage at this rally here in Atlanta tonight. The organization that's sponsoring this, When We All Vote, the First Lady's organization that she founded in 2018, says that the object of the exercise tonight at this rally is really to celebrate first-time voters and to mobilize first-time voters. I don't think it's a mistake that this is happening in Georgia, a state that is so critical in this election cycle, and a state where, as you noted, we've already seen more than 3 million ballots, 3 million votes cast in the 2024 election across the presidential race, obviously, but all the other races that voters here in Georgia are having to cast their ballots on. And so tonight we're going to see the former First Lady headline the group of speakers here, but also you see on your screen some of the other people who will speak and perform. Rita Wilson, Shonda Rhimes, Kelly Rowland, Marseille Martin. These are all people who have been outspoken, really, in the effort to get people to understand the value of their vote, the power of their vote, and try to make sure that those people get out to vote as well. The First Lady, we don't know exactly what her comments will be tonight. Again, this is her nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that she founded, where she will encourage people to get out to vote today. Not necessarily, I don't think we'll hear her say anything about a particular candidate, but simply that people should exercise their vote. At the same time, we do know that the former First Lady will be back on the campaign trail for Vice President Harris on Saturday in Pennsylvania. She was with her in Kalamazoo, Michigan over the weekend, where she spoke for about 40 minutes to an audience that was rapt, hanging on her every word, as she doesn't have the burden of speaking as politicians do. She was able to give a speech that was very, I think, plain spoken, but one that was a ringing endorsement of Vice President Harris and a rebuke of former President Trump and some of his methodologies she spoke about at length in her comments on Saturday. And so we'll look forward to seeing what else she has to say on this coming Saturday. Jose, I think Michelle Obama is seen in many ways as a closer. She herself said that she hates politics, and so she doesn't speak very often. When she does, people tend to listen. Jose?
Aaron Gilchrist in Atlanta, thank you so much. You know, the election could very well be decided in different small counties throughout our country, and Georgia specifically has one of the fastest growing and most ethnically diverse counties, Gwinnett, just outside of Atlanta. Joining us now is Georgia's longest serving Latino legislator, State Democratic Representative Pedro Marin, who represents part of Gwinnett County. Representative, thank you for being with us. 23% of people in Gwinnett County are Hispanic or Latino. Tell me about the county.
Good morning, Jose, and thank you for the opportunity, and good seeing you. I haven't seen you in a while. But again, you know, Gwinnett, all stops are in Gwinnett County. I think Gwinnett is crucial to the Democratic Party winning Georgia, again, like we did almost 4 years ago. So I think the Latino is engaged. Always I say the story that when I first started, I ran for the first time in 2002. There were roughly close to 20,000 Latino registered voters. Fast forward to 2024, we have over 400,000 Latino registered voters. So that can swing an election one way or the other.
Sure. And Representative, what are those 400,000 registered Latino voters concerned about? And I'm sure, and we always have to say this, I mean, there is no Latino vote. There are just Latino voters. What specifically do your constituents, your Latino constituents, have as their primary concerns?
I think as the kitchen table issues, you know, public safety, the economy, education. So I think it is broad on not just the Latino community. Immigration also touches a nerve on our Latino community. It's not on top, but it is on the first 3 or 4 issues that we're hearing from, because immigration now hearing of what's going to happen if President